I've got tons of people. You could see on the YouTube channel, there's all kinds. Yeah, so the knowledge is a bunch of words. I'm going to send it to you later that orients you towards the process of self-healing. Then you go to the steps. There's 7 steps. The first step is reflected in the idea of I have tons of personal issues. You've got problems. You need to seek medical professional help. Anything that you can say or do that would help you to become exposed personally in your personal issues. That's magic. Because if you can drop your defense mechanisms and just sense that stuff right now, not the way that you're used to sensing it, like somebody's better than you and they're pointing the finger at you and all that. Like you said at the beginning, the great thing, everybody wants to be right and nobody's right. I'm going to be saying that forevermore now. It's what I got taught today. Nobody's right. I mean, no matter what I say, what am I right? It doesn't really work that way. That doesn't mean that you can't teach me calculus and trigonometry, of which I have no conception of, or that I can't teach you how to lower your blood pressure or something. We can help each other and we can know things, but nobody's right. And that's the basis of all enlightenment system. Step 1, you ain't right. You got issues. Now, everybody else is telling you that all the time. Girlfriends and people and work, they're always telling you to do it better. But that method is not the kind of method I'm talking about. I'm talking about being unconditionally nourished by some nature, by some person. There's all kinds of different people. You got teacher, who's a regular person like you. You got enlightened master, which is Jesus and Buddha and so forth. You got the conception or idea of God. 2 people in a cave or bang rocks together and there's a color of a spark. They bang 2 other rocks, there's another color. Then there's a Mars rover that sends back pictures. So you got to have a conception of God or something. You look at the stars, somebody that's greater intelligence to you. With school and work, it's easy. Oh, I'm writing a solar panel cheat sheet. I'll send it to you. Because Lena keeps saying to people that, if anybody's going to get solar panels, they ought to ask me. And I ought to write something about what that process is. Because evidently, nobody knows. Doesn't matter who you talk to every expert, and nobody has a 10-point, the 10 commandments of getting solar panels. I know what they are now because I just continuously suffered for endless months, getting cheated and confused and all this kind of stuff. But I know now. And thanks to you and other people, I was educated to understand. So it's the same way with the education process of the self. First, you got to experience this grace thing, which is non-cognitive, meaning that there's a conception of a God or conception of a teacher of trigonometry. I mean, I could figure out trigonometry myself. The only problem is I have no concept of what it is. So maybe I can't do that. But I can figure out math by myself. And then I guess maybe some descendant 2,000 years down the line could come up with trigonometry or something. I don't know how long. But right now, it'd be better for me to ask you about what calculus is. What's it about? You could come up with a paragraph and a couple of sentences that could orient me to a general understanding to begin the process of learning calculus. So we're used to being criticized or directed by people in a subject-object, dominant, submissive kind of way. We're not used to it because we conceive of somebody or something that knows something that can help us. So you have to have great, lofty idea and then get a conception of what it would be like to fly an airplane before you can even start to understand anything about aerodynamics in an airplane. So you could do that for a job, and you can do that for getting your degree or passing that engineering test. You got to do that test again?
Yeah, I got to redo it.
So to have quicker processing speed, we've got to have a greater sense of spaciousness and timelessness. So to do that, you follow along these steps, advanced meditation steps, to enhance brain fitness, to enhance heart rate variability, and the nectar of hormones that come from your heart, because your heart, you know, is also a gland, not just an organ. So you go to step 2. Step 2 is to let play be pressed, whether it's the Tao Te Ching or the Bible or Wordsworth or Edison, or I don't know, something that can talk to you in such a way that it's going to calm you down. Because everybody is in the subject-object relationship with life, and they're always having knee-jerk responses and judgments and so forth, trying to be right. Because whoever's right gets the chicks and the cash. So there's a real addiction to being right.
Mhm.
But when you have energy as an overflow, not a squeeze, then people say, I want you to create a place in SLV where there's a new department, and I want you to head it. But when it's a squeeze of energy all the time, then it's this rat race thing that's not an Edison or an Einstein or another. You never see them in a frenetic mess. So geniuses don't think, thinking happens. If you have some great drive because you're connected, connectivity is power. You're not just in subject-object relationship with life. You're connected. Can't turn the light on unless you're connected, right? So right now, your mind is localized in your prefrontal cerebral cortex and cortex in general. It doesn't do stars and sky and trees. You have to be alone and in nature to do that, or have a few beers. You can't do that when you're talking to somebody. There's too much fear here. But you have to do it when talking to people. You have to be in your secret place, like the dream state, while you're talking to people. So you cultivate that by going into step 2 now, which is lengthening the breathing pattern. So see how long you can make your breath now. Remember, it's not a forced thing, it's natural. If everything is forced, it's never get anywhere. You got to be driven to take your engineering test again. And that makes you study, not like panic. I got to do my study. I got to pass the test next. Constant
Yeah.
panic.
Yep.
Don't be in a constant panic. Forget it. Forget her, forget me, forget him, forget this, forget that. Just relax.
Mhm.
Then you'll say, oh, you know what? I want to pass the engineering test. Let me pick up that book. Longer breath. When you start to calm down, everything that you're afraid of and everything that you judge is going to assault you. I don't want William having so much room in my head. Hell with him. Get out of here. I got to go to work tomorrow. I got to concentrate. She's going to be up in 3 hours. All the stuff that's going on is going to come to your mind. You got to keep slowing down and keep relaxing. People that are friends don't have a subject-object relationship where their eyes go out. The eyes go in when you're alone in a scene of nature. The eyes go in, they don't go out. Yet you can see everything in its diversity, specifically. But the wind and the sun and the rain and the earth and this animal and that animal, it's all clear to you. You can be specifically focused on the diversity, but you can be in the oneness of spacious perception, both at the same time. So the way that you do that You have to have a teacher, you have to have an enlightened master teacher, and you have to have the idea of what's out there. Look up, people look up at the stars. Is there a God with a gray beard up there? I mean, what's going on? You can't go to Mars and build a Mars rover unless you conceive of the impossible. I mean, if you and I go into a forest, let's try to think up how we're going to create a Mars rover. And you're an engineer. You actually know more about that than I do. But both of us, forget it. I guess if you get 10 PhDs in engineering to go into a forest, they can't build a Mars rover. I mean, you've got to, who knows what's involved in that? And it sends pictures back. How do you figure out how to send images by electromagnetic waves in real time across the world? So the imagination is the bridge and workshop to what's possible for your life. Until you calm down, you can't access the imagination. Calm down is never a forced thing. Calm down is not a holding space for somebody else as they can talk through their process and whatever. That's getting a paycheck. This is more important. Then say, oh, well, I'm kind of a deeper dude, more relaxed than most people. I can let them figure out how to do their solar panels and talk to me for an hour about nothing. Right? I just kind of yes and no it and whatever. It's okay. I don't mind. I'm happy to be kind to people. But when it's just forced, you're going to build high blood pressure. And then it doesn't matter if you have a money or a girlfriend or a house. Doesn't matter anymore. How many old people trade all their money for health?
A lot.
I guess they would give all of it. Maybe not. Maybe they're identified with the money so much that they'd rather die. That's true too. So we have to find ourselves. The great proponent of Zen, Dogen Zenji, said, to know the self is to study the self, to study the self is to forget the self, to forget the self is to be enlightened by the 10,000 teachers. You can't have a self anymore. I'm Mexicano-American. I'm Italiano-American. Those are both big pride things. You can't have that anymore. You can't know who you are if you're going to become who you could be. You can't be constantly who you think you are in your mind and who I think you are in your mind if you're going to become what you want to be. You can't even decide who you want to be. You're too much in the fear, prey, predator, fight or flight, attraction, repulsion. That's the nature of the human being. That's because of prefrontal cerebral cortex and cortex, the outer layer of the mind, screening what gets in there. So in every tradition, they put ashes there, like the Catholics put ashes here. The yogis, they wipe the forehead and put sandalwood paste on the forehead. The Tibetans touch a stupa or a holy object to the forehead and press their forehead against your forehead, because the forehead is the gatekeeper to the subconscious. That's why you have to design your university of enlightenment, because I can't be right. You said it and you were right. I'm not right. I don't understand everything. I'm a buffet. So I can give you a buffet of options. We already know the Tao Te Ching works. So you write down on a piece of paper the scents, sights, sounds, people, places, things, thoughts, ways of emotion, ways of sexuality, ways of eating, ways of sleeping. And that's your University of Enlightenment, given to you according to the syntax that works for you. That's a code, cosmic tumblers, that gets you to have more personal coherence. Because if your blood pressure is out of whack, all you can do is worry about your blood pressure all the time. So who cares if you can do a barbecue or you can buy a new car or whatever, because you're only going to be in mental obsession about your blood pressure. So everything should be to be fixing the blood pressure. Lose everything and fix the blood pressure. Or stay in shock for 100 years. Once you have this university of enlightenment intact, and you have the authorities in it, and you have the testing, the grades, now you're going to build your inner kingdom. If you build your inner kingdom, you can really do the outer kingdom. You can go ahead and put your foot down in the world. And, anybody that doesn't allow you to put their foot down is a scared person. You may as well put your foot down in front of them, especially. And most people won't allow you to put your foot down because they want to be in charge. But that's not master person. Master person wants you to put your foot down because they want you to be in charge. As far as the rules of the game, actions and consequence and karma, that's always functioning anyway. So you're not in shock about the threat over there. You're in shock about the threat that's right present to you. Blood pressure. You're not obsessing about work and girlfriend and all that because your blood pressure is more of a present thing. But if you identify with the girlfriend and the work being more of a present thing, then you have to deny and ignore what really is the present danger, and then it gets worse. You got to be a consummate student. And I was teaching this morning earlier, and I was saying to him that you have to get what you need to get and use me for your ends. You don't owe me anything or anything like this, following or whatever. You follow the path that's given to you by God, and you get what you need to get, and you get out. In other words, teacher, get what you need to get out. Enlightened master, get what you need to get out. Relationship with God, get what you need and get out, meaning become all those things. Become more in union with the universe, with the teacher, with the enlightened master by getting what you need to get and individuating. So if you give me the one lesson of calculus, then I figure out how to do that one lesson. Now I am that lesson. It exists as me. It becomes part of me for the rest of my life. So that's how people shape each other. And whoever has the stronger magnetism is the leader. No matter who it is in politics that you enjoy, whoever has the stronger magnetism, that's the one that's going to take over. And the strength is determined by coherence, not amplitude. It has nothing to do with good or evil or right or wrong. So whoever's right or wrong is not the issue. That's why you can't identify with other people. You have to cultivate your own coherence, because personal coherence is the luck factor of life. That's the greatest force of amplitude, is coherence. And the decreased resistance in a wire means more current flows through. And whoever's got more power, that's the leader. And if we're not set on being the leader, then you really become the leader. If you realize that you're never going to be an enlightened master, you're never going to be God, you're never going to understand the mysteries of the universe. Now you can be a follower, not a leader. Everybody's consumed with leadership. That's incorrect. The first Navy SEAL, Roy Bone, I have his card and a signed book. He said, I don't have the signed book yet. I just getting the signed book, but I have the card and I have one or more of his books. I don't think I have anything signed by him other than like copies that I printed out and stuff. Anyway, I like that kind of thing. He said, everybody thinks it's about leadership. It's not. It's about followership. So when the war was being lost in Europe, the Americans did a great thing. Everybody thinks that they didn't, and everybody wants to be against America. Of course, UK and everybody suffered so much. But we did, in effect, save the war because of Roy Bone and other people. They built these structures in Normandy where no boats could land, and the Germans were amassing troops in all of Europe, particularly France and Italy. And they created these big giant iron things where boats couldn't get close and then come into the sand, to the shore. So we created UDT, which was previous to the Navy SEALs. They're the first Navy SEAls. So he was the first Navy SEAL, but that was in the 60s. But at the time of World War II, he was one of the first, or I think the first UDT guy. And these UDT guys, which is like a SEAL, went and blew up all these structures. And then the boats could come. And then the Americans went onto the shore and they're getting shot. All their buddies are getting shot while they're walking onto the shore. And they still kept thousands of people walking onto the shore. I think that's pretty courageous and noteworthy for America. And then we were able to overcome the German possession in Europe. So he said, everybody thinks it's about leadership. It's not about leadership. It's about followership. So if your strategy to get the engineering next degree and to do good is to take over, that should not right. It should be, okay, how am I then going to get my PhD? Because why not? Go from followership to followership. That's how you become a leader. As you continue to become more receptive. You got to scan your body now, back to step one, and look at where you're not receptive. There goes the shoulders. You noticed? So you talk for an hour, the shoulders are this way, you get all, then all of a sudden I say something or we make progress and the shoulders drop. Too much fun. Blood pressure drop. I mean, if this is this way for an hour and then it goes like this, that's probably a blood pressure drop. Blood pressure drop could save your life. So you have to get what you need from me and make it your own. Hell with me. But the problem is that when somebody says something that's irrefutably powerful or intelligent or demonstrates some neat thing like the shoulder drop and you can't refute it, makes you afraid. You know, the other person has too much control. But how is that proper followership? I mean, so it's a really weird thing. You know, it's the main barrier to learning is that we can't follow directions. It's like impossible to follow directions because we're going to be invaded if we drop our defense mechanisms and be a follower. I prefer that. And then the discomfort breaks up the dirt that's in my mind and my body. Like the agitator in the washing machine breaks up the dirt. So my insides become more receptive. There she is.
No, this is her daughter.
Hola.
Oh, you're not on speaker.
Oh, tell her I said, hola. She ran away.
She went to go bother her mom.
They live with you?
Yeah, we all live together.
Oh, so you're pretty much a family. You're gonna do the marriage, you know?
Yeah, I think so.
Don't let her hear you say that. You'll really be a follower, I'll tell you. It's a good thing. It ensures your slavery. Then you can really be a follower. Yeah. So it's step two. When you do step two, that's when drop and pop happens. Drop and pop is the psychic phenomena of when you start to relax, drop the shoulders, get energy. That's when other people become animated and they start to say, hey, what are you doing? 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 When you relax, the phone rings. So there's a field of psychic magnetism here. That's just reality. What do you have to say about that? You take over for a while. I don't want to talk anymore.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, when you achieve state of mind that you want to achieve, others tend to look down on you, I guess.
Is there a Hold on. I'm gonna do that walk away in the middle of the talk thing if I'm on stage with 400,000 people. Not even say what I'm doing. Is psychic real?
I believe so. I mean, maybe not like in the sense of like, moving things with your mind or something. But
Well, what is real about it? Trying to find some hot chocolate. What is real about psychic? Is there any connection between you and your girlfriend and her daughter in an
oh yeah,
invisible world? There is.
yep.
Scientifically, the heart has a 40-foot field of measurable magnetism. The most advanced way to diagnose a heart is a magnetocardiograph, where just like Star Trek, they go like whoop, and they measure the magnetic field of the heart. That's the most advanced way to diagnose what's going on with the heart. Every thought that you have produces an electromagnetic signature. You have tissue at the root of your nose called magnetite-bearing tissue. That's the same tissue that allows a pigeon to navigate the ley lines of magnetism of the earth. How can you take a pigeon, put him in a box, take him 1,000 miles away, and him come back to the same place? This is a field of psychic magnetism. They can measure your brain waves, get an idea of this thought does that, and this magnetism, this brain wave, this thought lights up this area of your brain. Then you put a cap on your brain after that, and then tell what you're thinking. Because they've understood what area lights up with what thoughts, and now they're mapping the human brain to understand that certain electromagnetic signatures and certain areas of the brain are precisely, just like a credit card is very precise, associated with particular thoughts and images. Mind reading is essentially factually, scientifically proven. Why is that important? Because actually everybody's in denial that you can sense and that there's a connection going on between you and them.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that. I mean, some cultures call it aura. Everybody has like that, like 20-foot radius of what you're producing, and if practiced enough, you can feel what's in that field, or sense what's in that field around you. And that's how people can, they're, people that practice it enough are like psychic in a way, because they understand how their magnetism or aura works, and they're pretty fine tuned to it. So, I believe in that.
Scientifically, you know about Bell's theorem, non-locality, quantum entanglement. It means that there's no distance in space. If you take an electron that's paired with another electron and you physically move one electron to London, the other electron to New York, when you change the spin on the one electron, the other electron responds immediately. What that means is that it's not a communication of electromagnetic traveling or light speed or anything. There's no speed, there's no time. It immediately reacts. That's two paired electrons in an atom. So scientifically, there's no such thing as distance. The magnometer can measure the magnetic field of your heart 40 foot away. Well, a magnetic field does not stop traveling. Your first heartbeat is traveling in space still today, just at a lesser amplitude, because it produced a magnetic field. The credit card stores electromagnetic signatures and transmits electromagnetic signatures. Every cell in your body has a north and south pole of magnetism, just like a magnet, just like a planet, just like a galaxy. Most planets. When you turn within, face shining inwards, and you become quiet, you start to have that flash processing that people have in twilight sleeping. Edison had two metal balls when he would take in his hand, when he would take a nap in the day, middle of the day. And when the metal ball would fall, he would lay down, he'd put the metal balls just kind of on his hands, but he had to position them in such a way that he had to be conscious to keep the metal balls level. When he'd fall asleep, the metal balls would fall out of his hand and hit a metal plate and wake him up because he wanted to keep the twilight sleep going. Conscious sleeping is meditation. If you're absolutely still, they call it Baptist minister, absolutely still, not moving. You see things, you see life, you see your girlfriend, you see them talking in their room. Now, it could be imagination, like maybe they're like this, But as you become more wiped clear, like the Catholic ashes and the wiping of the yoga forehead, and you get these words that calm your mind. 60 to 80,000 thought science says we have is the average. When you listen to silence beyond mental chatter, constantly discursive thought, and you become embodied, embodiment is healing, embodiment grounds your brain, you start to become aware of the sleep state while you're awake. So your intelligence skyrockets. Because the subconscious processes thousands of times faster than the conscious mind. So, either, I'm giving you irrefutable science stuff, the science points. Genius associated with alpha waves, theta waves. Pick what science points that you totally agree with. Make them your own. Start to cultivate and codify your University of Enlightenment. But all this is too much for people. They're like, okay, thanks, William. Nice to meet you. You know why? Because they can't follow thought. They can't follow a logical line of reasoning with an attention span. People don't have an attention span. They only have an attention span for sex, drugs, rock and roll, money, get a job to get a paycheck, do the university test to get the degree. But to face themselves, people don't have an attention span. So even though that if you replay this, it'll be on the YouTube, you replay this 100 times, there's logical, irrefutable, interesting quotes, interesting things, like there's tissue at the root of your nose called magnetite-bearing tissue. That's the largest concentration of magnetite-bearing tissue in the body. It's right in front of the third eye. Sphenoid bones sense magnetism in your nose. Buddha's meditation technique was sense the breathing in your nose. The third eye is talked about in every enlightenment system. So those two things are interesting scientific facts. The heart has a 40-foot field of measurable magnetism. Electromagnetism, all electricity is magnetism. I like the word magnetism, it's more powerful, but really electromagnetism. All magnetic pulses travel infinitely in space. They don't stop traveling. They just diminish in amplitude. Your first heartbeat's still traveling in space, the magnetic signature of it. You put a cap on somebody's head, and by understanding what parts of their brain light up with different words, you could say what word they're thinking. You could look on a computer, you could think a word and you see it on the computer. It's science. But it's more extensive than that. It's more elaborate. All those things are hard science. So we know that geniuses and stuff like that, they're never in a frenetic mess. They're not in a mental panic. You've successfully accomplished not being externally in a panic, but you have not accomplished being internally not in a panic. But because of your culture, because of your family, because of some luck and some good things, you've got a lot of that on the inside, and you really got more of it on the outside. So you could facilitate a job, and you could facilitate friendship with people and things going on. But you're stressed out in having done that role because you didn't prioritize the inner reality of that. You only said, oh, I got some of this. Now I'm going to work it. And then now in the last 10 years, and it just gets more anxiety, more anxiety, more anxiety. Secret though on the inside. Can't talk about it. So you get high blood pressure. If you take time to be able to exact longer brain waves, longer breathing pattern, longer pulse, and you realize that when you take power back to yourself, everybody's going to say, hey, pay attention to me, pay attention to me, pay attention to me. That's when your shit's going to hit the fan. But if you're ready for that and you're ready to go through that, then you can establish more gravity. You know, space-time is a sheet of paper, a sheet of fabric. You know, you take a couple of chairs and you put a fabric over it and you put a ball. Let's say that the whole thing is water, and you put a condensed ball of water in the middle of that water, and it has weight to it and it bends the fabric, but the whole thing's water. And then you start spinning it around. Well, of course, it creates this drag around all the other water. Well, that's what the sun and the planets are. The heavier the object in the center, the more the pull, like a supermassive black hole, and the more the spin. But what I'm getting at is that the more the density, the more the gravity, the more you bend space-time. So if you really land yourself in such a way that, oh, I want to get my feet going before work tomorrow. I mean, I want to really ground myself and clear myself out because I got to go with the gringos tomorrow. So that means that the stuck waterfall of your head is going to go down through your body. It's going to touch the earth and you're going to have more weight. So in science, the greater the weight of the object, like a teaspoon of a neutron star is 50 billion tons. So if you have extraordinary gravity, extraordinary weight, then there's no problem with psychic self-defense or self-defense in general, because you have too much feet, you have too much gravity. If you have that and an animal comes up to you, they're not going to mess with you if you have enough of it, or a child, or anybody. So how can you gain more personal gravity? So what does it do? It slows time down. The clock, if you put two clocks, one clock at the bottom of the Empire State Building, one clock at the top, the clock at the bottom of the Empire State Building physically moves slower. Microseconds, you know, you'd have to have an atomic clock, but microseconds. Time physically slows down because space and time are a sheet of paper or a sheet of water, that's sitting on something else. And if you have more weight, more weight produces more gravity. If you have more weight, more gravity, you have more mass. So more mass produces more weight, more gravity. How do you get more energetic mass? By accepting that your girlfriend and her daughter are here now. They're not somewhere else. Your mommy, daddy, sister, brother, work, it's here. So you become a quantum processor of information, not a computer separated from the net, because you're surrendered. So if you need problem with being surrendered, just get higher blood pressure. Maybe that'll surrender you. So we want it the easy way. We don't want it the hard way, if we tell the truth. We want to be conscious. And so that means you've got to accept more of these miracle streams, these sounds, these sights, these scents, this sky, these stars, Jesus, Buddha, Nanak, and so forth, American Indian, so forth, Aztec, super calendar person, whatever, and find the earth, find your feet. So then the stuck waterfall will come out of the head, will go into the body, will touch the earth, and then you can hear more, and you can see more, and you can smell more. And so all of that coming in is not blocked anymore, so because it goes in and down. So it's just a bunch of sound bites, you know, it's all meaningless unless it's applied. And it all goes back to step one, which means I don't understand. All these sound bites, all these bits, can't put them together in anything that makes any sense. I can, but you can't. You have to codify the information in a way that causes advanced meditation. So step one is removing the covering to these blockages. People out here and work and the news and Ukraine and Russia and mommy, daddy, sister, brother. And thought is a layer on top of feeling. Cave person feels something, creates a thought. Psychology, psychiatry, all the teachers of the mind, they say that thought controls emotion. They're all wrong. Emotion controls thought. Then it becomes a loop where thought can talk to emotion, but fundamentally it's emotion and feeling. So unless you can quiet your mind, cortex with all these people, all these different ways of calming the mind from its 60, 80,000 compulsive discursive thoughts, unless you can do that, you can't experience sensual embodiment. Life is a sensual experience. There's mud underneath there and magma and metal core, and there's stars and there's lions and there's birds flying. And when you have awakening or healing right now, you're more in connection with what's out here. It's like you have these tendrils, and these tendrils can be connected to flowers and so forth. It's out here inside of trees, or you can be stuck in your head. It's not natural to be stuck in your head. You don't do that when you're alone in nature. So you have to go on vacation to go over to Hawaii to do that. And then you land, you go, it's right here. So when you practice enlightenment, you go through these steps. You practice self-education, self-healing. Step 3 is natural pauses, sighs of relief. But you got to do step 2 to the degree where everything becomes super long. And when you start getting overwhelmed, say, William, we got 20 minutes, stuff like that. So longer breath, longer breath, longer breath, longer breath, step 2, step 2. Longer, do you think I'm balding at all?
A little bit.
Oh, well. I was looking in the mirror this morning. I was thinking it might be true, but I was trying to deny it. But now that you say that, I do see some signs. When step 3 happens and everything becomes longer, you know it's going to create the opposite effect. People are going to become animated. Your junk inside of your biology and biography, your stuff is going to air itself. You're going to feel safe to let it out. That's going to create a reaction in environment. It's called dropping and popping. So what you do is you get older, you learn to not let out your stuff, because you know it creates problems. But actually you have to be courageous and keep discharging toxicity the same way that you do physical elimination. You have to do energetic elimination. We've already established what the aura is and what the chi is. That's been scientifically proven since 1930. And yet the whole world doesn't know it. And they still talk about it. Well, you can't prove it and it's not scientifically measurable. What? Yes, certainly is. Electromagnetism. So step 2 is longer. Longer is more difficult than step 1 and step 3, because step 1 is easy because obviously you have all kinds of things that you're not dealing with and that are repressed and stuff, so forth. Step 3 is easy because you can dissociate with your intellect, or you can just go beyond it all, like going on vacation. Step 2 is more difficult. You've got to become very long, calm, fine, slow, and even. So if you define teacher, enlightened master, conception of God, scriptures, science for yourself, you make it your whole life to understand it, then I guess you have plenty of things that you can believe in that you could calm down with. Because now you're not trying to generate power and intelligence to take over life. You're doing the opposite. How can I understand the inherent integrity of all life forms? How can I forgive them more? How can I be more of a servant, a contributor? How can I be more of a warrior? The immune system cannibalizes disease. You got to be a warrior. So that's a big missing part in most Enlightenment teachings, but not in their structure. Every Enlightenment description of God and Guru talks about a ferocious, destroying aspect. If you can do step 2, it's very long, calm, fine, slow, and even, you could have faith that everything is coming from one white light. And this is like in your childhood experience, there's a movie picture on the screen, and that you're lost in the different characters, the villain and the hero. You don't remember that it's one white light. So you got to trace that one white light back through your heart and find the sacred mystery of childhood that you knew then. And you got to re-enliven it now. Touch the earth with your mind. Become grounded. You can't touch the earth with your mind unless you can deal with conflict. So longer breath leads to step 3. Step 3 is these breathtaking beauty. In every tradition, there's talk about no thought and peace that passes all understanding and no breath, breathtaking beauty, bated breath, took my breath away. That's the soulgasm. You have so much nourishment coming in from this sky and this earth and these trees and so forth, that it wells up into a biological hormonal cocktail that causes natural transcendence, not dissociative transcendence, which religion and New Age bullshit does, but natural transcendence. When the test for the engineering starts to collate in your mind because you're more receptive, then information will start to make sense and you'll feel more ready to take the test again. But not when you're in a shock about it. You can't lower your blood pressure if you're in a shock about it. You said something very scary. You know, well, now I don't know what that means for the future if I have it this young. I'm like, oh God, I didn't give you that. I didn't give you that reaction then, but now I will. Oh my God. So you just want to script your doom? Is that what you want to do? You want to write it down? I will die of a heart attack from hypertension and high blood pressure in 22 years. Just relax a minute and step back and just forget it. Step 3 is very, very difficult because you have to accept everything. You have to find a way to be surrendered. So past, present, future, it's all forgotten. And now you're in your vacation destination and you're looking at the waterfall and there's no problem. Time passes by without any notice or concern. And you get that time dilation because you land. What are the ways that you have these kinds of experiences in your life, or have had them maybe in childhood? You were brought up right here. You're the real San Luis, weren't anybody ever met. For 500 years? How many years?
Like my family?
Yeah.
Yeah, shit, they've been here since the first settlement in San Luis, pretty much.
Wow, that's 1500?
I think so, something like that.
So that is 500 years, right? More than that. Yeah, about 500.
Oh yeah, like I mean, yeah, my family's always been here. Like I don't like trying to trace my family back. It's like it's been here, but I mean, of course, like I have like my grandma's grandparents were French or something like that.
Oh yeah, I can see that actually.
My great grandfather was German
Oh,
and married full-blooded Native American woman down here, but like despite where they all came from, they just all came here.
they came to
know?
you.
They came here, so yeah. So my family's always been here. I can't really think of like, oh yeah, my grandparents are from Ohio, or I can't say that because they just always been here.
Completely amazing. Really cool. So in your history and in your upbringing, how do these kinds of breathtaking beauty, timeless moments come into your life? Or how have they come into your life?
So when you say timeless, like, are you talking about moments where seem like time didn't matter, or
Mhm.
I guess moments like that just came to be when I was enjoying things.
Make a list. Give me 3 references, please. Write them down. So there was this one experience when you were 12, so forth.
Oh, talking about specific ones.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble thinking of any.
Well, you've had them. Okay, what was a secret place in nature when you were a child? What's that name? You're here for 500 years. You're supposed to have horses. We got to get you a ranch and horses.
Guess, yeah, I guess secret place in nature. I mean, I guess as a kid, I'd spent a lot of time. We went camping. We went to Beaver Reservoir.
Okay, write down Viva Reservoir. So Viva Reservoir is one of the most powerful access points you have to healing your blood pressure. Everybody's heard of connect to your my favorites list, so they dismiss it. They don't know how powerful it is. It's very, very powerful. With you as an individual, the most powerful connections you have are things like Viva Reservoir. You don't have a better connection much for power and healing and inspiration because you're a child, you're outside, you're looking at the stars, all this stuff, water, and undisturbed. You're not worried about girls and money, and it's completely free. So that kind of consciousness applied to you taking the engineering test becomes no problem because your brain becomes so fast. The result of being able to relax deeply is quicker brain waves. So on the way in, you have slower brain waves. On the way out, you have quicker brain waves. Beta brain waves and gamma brain waves is the mark of a meditation master. Their brains are permanently changed to be faster, not slower. But to be able to get to the conscious alpha and conscious theta, that takes quite a bit of suffering because you have to find out where you're wrong and where you don't understand constantly. That's the master path. The path advancing appears retreating. But you need to have these grace points, these access points. So Viva River, did you say? Viva Reservoir?
Beaver Reservoir.
Beaver. Oh, you were talking Spanish. Viva! Okay, Beaver River, Beaver River, Beaver River Reservoir. All right, what's the next one? How about when you're 4 years old, somewhere around there? Or first girlfriend, first car. That's all you think about. That's all you chant. That's all you do.
Yeah, well, I quite don't remember where this was, but I do remember as a kid, my mom, she would take me and my sister somewhere, and we would run down this trail. And like I remember I enjoyed doing that because it was like I was always telling my mom, like, can you go take us running?
All
I
right.
don't know.
So
I don't
now
know where that is though.
create 2, 3 words. You don't need it. Create 2, 3 words to remember that. Can you take us running in quotes? That'll work. And then I want you to remember the trail in your meditation and run down it. All right, let's challenge ourselves to see how long we can make our breath now. We'll just leave it at those 2. Then you continue to find more of them. Do you have a basement when you were growing up in any of the houses? They don't have
No,
basements here, really. Yeah.
no basement.
You had a backyard somewhere. Where'd you grow up?
Yeah, I mean, well, my parents were separate when I was a baby, so I had 2 houses
Cool.
essentially.
I mean, you know,
Like with my mom, I was with my grandma mostly because she lived with my grandma.
okay.
And then my dad, he had his own house.
And that was both here, center, where?
Yeah, in Del Norte.
Del Norte. Pardon me.
Yeah,
Right.
all of
That's
them.
kind of cool. Okay. So you had that big, is that Beaver River, Beaver Creek there? That
No,
river
no,
there?
no. Beaver Reservoir is like in South Fork. That's where we
Oh,
used to
okay.
go camping a lot when I was a kid.
Okay. All right. Longer now. Let me see how long you can do it. Ready? I'm going to breathe one breath before I talk again. Go. Okay. So that's the exhale of that one breath for me. Completely not forced, just natural. So it doesn't result in no error. It results in relief. Step 3 is sighs of relief and natural pauses. Those memories cause sighs of relief, profound relief. Step 3, you naturally are brought to the place of bated breath and sighs of relief. Because if you're running down the trail now, and you're at Beaver River now, Beaver Reservoir, and you have that nourishment, you enter into a reverie. Your eyeballs soften into receptivity. Your body calms. You don't worry about her and him anymore, and this and that, and tomorrow work, and it's not here. Timelessness. That's the key to keeping blood pressure at 120/80. As I told you, I can raise or lower my blood pressure right now with my mind. I can demonstrate it. And I do all the time. So, how can you change your heart rate variability, your hormones, your breathing pattern, your pulse, your brain waves? That's enlightenment because it all relates to changing your behavior. If you don't evolve as you grow older, you don't do anything. The legacy you're going to give to everybody is who you are, not what you do. So your obsession with what you do is not well founded because it's not the final analysis that's going to be the script of your life. It's more like what you are, who you are. So to know who you are, you have to go beyond your thought. You can't know who you are with thought. The shades of silence are the meaning of thoughts. In step 3, you have natural bated breath and natural sighs of relief. You're trying to get there with 10 seconds and 5 seconds. And then once a week, you've got the longer practice, which should incorporate whatever you choose, whatever knowledge points that you want to put in there. You got to have the knowledge first because your brain has to get satisfaction with thoughts. Otherwise, you won't stop discursive thought. You have to descend into your body. So you have to have words first. And then you have the steps. Steps is the non-cognitive drum beat. The drum beat of following the steps creates the symphony of your life because you start to get more internally enriched. The drum beat in your daily life is every breath, every step. To continue to deepen all this, you got to go back to step 1 and uncover more bullshit about yourself. Step 4, rooting. Rooting means you have to stand for something or you're going to fall for anything. Rooting means I'm not going to be objectified and externalized into girlfriend and daughter on their terms. I'm going to have my own feet before I see them. I'm going to have my own personal space, and I'm going to interact in a way that's best for them and best for me before I interact with them. And however I fail this time, because you're going to fail every time, I'm going to learn something. I'm going to try again next time. That's the conclusion of every day. That's the recap. So not what you did and how you didn't answer right and listen right and everything. No, who you are and where you have wrong behavior. And then that'll allow you to go back from step 1 to step 2, which is slow down and get help or be educated. And step 3, which is natural pause, sighs of relief, transcendence. Why are people obsessed with vacation and getting away and taking a breather, taking a break? Because that recharges their batteries. So now you got 10 seconds that you thread through your life, and you got 5 minutes that you thread through your life. Just what did I say? 1 a day or 1 a week?
I think 1 a day.
Ooh, cool. See, I try to institute like amazing structures, but nobody ever goes for it. So I always just keep trying. But my last thought was 1 a week on the take 5 thing. But I'm glad I said 1 a day with you. Thank God. No, 1 a day, 1 a day. So you do 1 a day, and in that you got to do the 7 steps in the 5 minutes. Step 5 is blooming. So rooting is, getting your feet about you, getting ready to take your stand physically, because now you're externalizing your awareness. After you go into the internal journey, now you're externalizing. After you sleep, you wake up and you have engaged dynamism with people. So as soon as you do rooting enough, it's kind of a fight position. You're going to have your feet and you're going to manage stuff in the environment with yeses and nos. Much yes as possible, but certainly no's functioning. Otherwise, without that conflict, without that standing for something, you'll fall for anything. So when you do rooting, you got to really get your roots going. It's an energetic thing. It's a metaphorical deal. It's a physical deal. There's negative ions in the earth. There's positive ions in the sky. Isn't that like a battery? So if you're disconnected to the earth, disconnected to the sky, I guess you're not part of your larger body, which is nature. So when you look at somebody and talk to them, you can't just be with them. You have to be more connected to sky and earth in your path in life. When you do blooming, after rooting, you can start to see, the inside of trees. What's the movement of sap like? You can do oceans. Oh, that's neat. And you can begin to establish yourself with this vast connected perception, like a bunch of wires. So you're connected to sky and stars and birds and lions and petting dolphins and dogs and cats and earth and center of the earth. And you do that still before you talk to people. This is a cycle of training, the full 7 steps. Once you have this connectivity, and remember, connectivity is power, with the different sensual nourishments in nature that you get when you're alone in nature, but now you're practicing it while you're talking and listening to people. Then you have the metaphor of the oceanic connectivity, and you respond to things like the winds. The winds create the waves. You're in the zone. You don't have to think about how to take the basketball shot. You're in the zone. So that's how you learn to communicate with people, is water to winds. They're the winds, you're the water. Down deep, you're still, you don't move. Up top to the conscious mind, the surface, that's a different story. That's what people see. and you react according to what's given to you. So you don't have to react in any other way than what's brought to you. The screen door is broke. How do you fix the screen door? And the need to pass the engineer test is what drives you to study and pass the engineer test, not some kind of over there thing. No, you feel the need. From that felt need of the people in your life, you create responses as best you can. But it should be natural, in the zone, ideally. Step 6, pre-processing, pre-printing. You have to go to work tomorrow and you have to see the daughter and the girlfriend before they come out, before you get off the call. You can't just jump into things without seeing it. If you're calm and you're present to reality as it is right here with these people and these circumstances in this time frame, with these pasts, this present, and these possible futures, then you're going to see whatever's coming next. That's a mystic. And you have subconscious processing power going. So you go everywhere before you go. Tomorrow morning, when you do a little routine like this, the 7 steps, you go into the chair at work and you go into say hi to the lady that makes the coffee and whatever. Now, before you go there and you become more invisible, that's step 7. Step 7 is before you engage your day and do what you're doing, is go stealth. And I call it sweep the floor. Nobody cares about you and your life and what's going on. It's all a bunch of hi, how are you? How's the weather? Surface stuff. Play the game. Because that's the only way anybody else will feel safe. So you play the game and you go and you show up with your broom. Yeah. Well, who called me today? Oh, the guy's got the new solar installed over there, and I know that he's concerned about how much money I could make selling it back to the power place. All right, so I know about that answer and talk about that. And so you have to connect with people before you see them, or you don't have any presence. If you're still, you're going to see things not only by psychic impression, but also just by grounded, logical, practical things of what's next in life. I'm going to see my wife and I teach again in an hour. All right, so while I'm talking to you, as we get closer to closing, that's starting to come in. You know, starting to become conscious of it. They're not doing that. They're like, so you get an edge, you get an angle. You can understand them better. You can understand you better. But nobody in the whole world has this kind of meditative composure, which is the essence of being able to make progress in who you are and how you live. So how's the SLB going? It's good?
Yeah, it's same old.
A lot of new people, a lot of new installs.
It's slowed down. Solar has slowed down recently. I've been just getting like a couple of months, past like
Really?
3 months. Yeah, it's been slow.
Wow.
Yeah, because like sometimes I would get like 5 a week, or like, yeah, it was crazy. But recently it's slowed down.
Would you do solar if you could?
Uh, right now, I mean, if I had just 40K to throw away, then, well, not throw
Yeah.
away, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'd probably do it. But
You
that's the
like it?
thing.
Okay.
That's the thing, though. It's just I don't have 40K, and I'm not gonna finance 40K
Oh
for
God. Right.
25 years or 30 years or whatever. So
When it's the same basic price, pretty much seems like, or it takes 20 years, 30 years to pay itself back.
exactly. So I'm like, in that sense, if I were to make payments, I wouldn't do it. If I just
Right.
happen to have 50K on me that I don't know what to do with, then
Mhm.
I would, yeah, I would buy
You
solar.
would? Okay. Talk to Ryan. He's still got new jobs, right? Because he's got the industrial jobs.
Yeah, like they do a lot of work like outside Colorado too, I think. And
Yeah,
they
Idaho.
all over Colorado too. But in the valley, they haven't had a new one yet. Um, they do have one farmer that has like 20 of them that are
20
I don't,
units?
yeah, yeah, like
Wow.
yeah, the farmers, they have like 50 meters, so they get
Wow.
so they put 20 in at a time or whatever. So
Oh,
yeah, the farmers, they got a lot of money. So
oh, they do. I didn't know. Okay. And
yeah,
center's big for it too, isn't it?
yeah, the center area is very agricultural. Like this area is just surrounded by crop circles.
Crop circles meaning circles of crops, not like the crop circles by UFOs,
Right.
if there is such a thing.
Yeah.
We did our potato harvest. We got like 4 super tiny potatoes. No, maybe 7.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But we've got lettuce for months, tons of lettuce, giant bowls of lettuce every night.
Oh,
And
nice.
we've got spinach here and there, and we've got broccoli and kale and cilantro por tacos por mi esposa, muy
Mhm.
sabroso. Y carrots. How do you say carrots?
Oh no.
Oh, sister, not sister, esposa, or to, how do you say girlfriend?
Novia.
Novia. Tu novia, usted entiende carrots.
She's in the other room.
Sí, sí, yo entiendo. I just was saying that she knows what carrots is.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But she's pretty gringo-y, right? She was here.
Yeah,
Don't
kind
tell her I
of.
said that. I'll be in big trouble.
No, and I feel like she's not really.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Well, I like
I
the
don't think she
core
is.
Mexican culture.
Yeah, I don't think she is.
Bueno. Do other people in your family speak Spanish? Where did it go
Mm,
now?
not fluently. We're pretty much Spanglish.
Mm,
Yeah, pretty much. And nobody in my family is fluent, but we know Spanish, but we're not fluent. You know.
okay. And how did the week go in terms of practice and experience? Did you see the blood pressure drop down like point by point or what?
I think it was just kind of like all at once. I think it kind of just dropped to the low 20s, low 80s. So
20s, low 80s is pretty good.
yeah, low 120s, low 80s. Obviously my doctor wants it to be below that, below 120 and
He
over
does
80.
what 110 over 70 is perfect or 60?
I think any pressure below those two numbers, I think
Yeah,
that's what they want.
right. Okay.
So yeah. Yeah, like I said, they prescribed lisinopril. That's the
Mhm.
Western medicine for lowering blood pressure, and I haven't been taking it because I,
Thank
I
God.
wanted to because I wanted to try lowering it myself before
All
taking that
right, do
crap.
another testimonial, will you? Just say, don't say the numbers like that. Give them more room for faith. Say, well, did he go down out of the danger zone? Only a few more points to go down out of the danger zone, but it was
Mhm.
strong in the danger zone before,
Yeah,
pretty
I think it
much,
was.
right?
I think it was. They call it stage one hypertension.
And now you don't have stage 1 hypertension, basically. A couple more
Right.
points, maybe.
Yeah, a couple more
All
points
right,
and
ready? I do this on purpose. I have my reasons. Ready?
okay.
Go.
So after taking Williams' course, I had stage one hypertension, but that has since dropped below to normal blood pressure.
Thank you. All right. So how can you increase that this week, right? Because now you're going to have to, now is the struggle where it's a structure. So it's the end of the summer. Everybody's going to be more manic. It's harvest season. That means people are going to be sucking up energy to themselves. So you're lucky in that there's no solar going on, and there's not going to be much solar going on from now until whenever. So you can surf the web at work or whatever. You can do
Well,
that engineering test.
well, I mean, I've been doing other stuff. Like we have uh some, we're working on some solar projects for the company itself.
Oh,
Yeah, we're gonna install 1 megawatt on the Moffett substation and another megawatt over by Creed.
wow.
So yeah, we're working on that, and I've been doing a lot of grant stuff.
Oh,
And I don't know if you're familiar with grants, but
a little bit.
it's a pain in the ass to get.
I got the roads here with grants. I helped.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so grants are like, well, like it's, I mean, the thing is like the money that we're trying to go for is new. And so in releasing in with the government releasing these new funds, there's a whole list of criteria and requirements that we have to provide, and letters and all kinds of stuff. And it's kind of been pain in the butt. And
Would it be okay with you if you sent me something of that, and I might be able to have an offering for you on how to give you a little help on it?
well, we're already kind of we already submitted.
Oh, it's done? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, so we already got through that. We are going to go try to get some other grants, but I think at this point it'll be a little bit easier just because we've already went through one. So we're
Mhm.
thinking it's going to be similar. So,
Did you do
but
the grant writing process, and did you fill it out online? Was it like that?
yeah, kind of is like, yeah, we had to provide, like, it was through the state. So the state kind of gave us like a template, and we had to kind of fill
Yeah.
in the information.
And that's you
Uh,
alone, or the other people helping?
no, no, my boss was helping with that. Um,
Okay.
but what made it stressful, it was like short notice. Like,
Mm-hmm.
our CEO came to us and like, oh yeah, here's a grant, and it's like the
Mm-hmm.
first thing was
Figure
due
it out.
that
Mm-hmm.
next week. Yeah, it was just like super quick, and it was just that it was pretty stressful. And because
You
like,
notice how that always comes to you, people in urgent situations?
yeah,
That's because you have a calm demeanor. So why I said that is because something's coming. So if that went away, something's coming. It won't be long. If you know that now, because that's the cycles it's been your whole life, but you don't really recognize it, you're all like, okay, I'm cool, we're over that and everything. And then you get surprised. Oh my God, I have to take the engineering test now. Or, oh my God, the new grant has got to be done. It's got to be completed. Everybody only wants one thing from you, more.
yeah,
So how you gonna keep up?
you just gotta keep keep overflowing, I guess.
No, keep backing off.
Oh,
Keep backing off. Keep surrendering. Keep saying, "Oh, the boss is going to put another test on me within the next 27 days, 12 hours, 14 seconds." In other words, path advancing appears retreating. And the Tao Te Ching says, "How can I describe to you an enlightened person? Shapeable like an uncarved block of wood, simple, um, hesitant like walking across iced over stream, receptive like a grandmother." How do I know this? By looking inside myself. So the whole idea of output is really based on input. I remember I said to the lady in town here who owns a lot of businesses about the put your oxygen mask on first thing. She won the philanthropist award for the most giver in all of Colorado. She's always creating this building and that thing and giving away to everybody. And she said, I don't know if I understand or if I agree with that. Put the oxygen mask on first thing. And I said, okay, well, then you go up into an airplane and don't put the oxygen mask on first. Let's see how you can help people. She had a stroke, actually, but she's okay. So you can't output without input. Remember, or you wouldn't remember, too young again. GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. That's the whole computer thing. When computers started in the 80s, I had a little computer. I had a bunch of them, VIC-20s, Commodore 64s. GIGO was the big thing. Whatever you put in there, that's what's going to come out. So if you're repressing because you're only trying to keep things under control and keep up and do what you need to do, I'm not saying that that's not required, but if you back off and devote yourself to the inner journey, naturally your capacities and your ability to listen, speak, respond becomes like the waves to the winds. So if you know that the second grant is in process and that the test for the engineering is in process right now in your psyche, I mean, if that's part of your daily life right now, that those things are big for you and they're coming quickly, then that suffering is going to carve out the space for you to be receptive to all the little data points of the engineering test and of the grant. But if you're doing something else and you're not calm enough that you can't see what's going on, like if you don't see that you're going to go see this person and do that, then you're just never prepared and you're always shocked. So the idea of putting out power is coming from being connected to the power cables. So if you want to put out more power, if you want to keep up better, you have to upgrade your inverter. I never put more panels, by the way. But you gotta do it that way. So please enjoy the 10s and the 5s and see if you can watch a movie defending your life. You and your gal are going to love defending your life. I think it's in the first week. There's 2 movies every week. If you can find a way to watch one of those movies, you're not going to be disappointed. I guess you'd have to believe me. It's not my fault, but it'll work. They're really fun. All of them are. It's like 7 weeks of there's 2 movies a week for 7 weeks, and each one of them is an amazing journey. But you have to make it through. You know, some of them are harder to get through, like Jonathan Livingston Seagull's a bunch of birds flying around, the whole movie. But it's this dialogue, and the dialogue is extraordinary in what goes on. And if you make it through half of the movie or all the movie, you're really going to get a blessing. So how is everybody else in your family? Everybody okay?
Yeah, my grandma recently got COVID.
Oh no,
So
recently. I heard it's
yeah,
coming around again.
yeah. So she's had it for almost a week now. So
Oh,
hopefully
see,
she can kick it. Um, Everybody else is good.
bueno.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty much the only big one. But yeah, I think everybody else is doing good.
Bueno. Do you ever say that in Spanish? My wife does when she calls her family. Bueno? That's how she says hello. Do you do that too?
Yeah, I'd say that usually
Oh,
like for bye.
oh, bueno
What?
is bye, hello, everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh,
Yeah.
bueno. I
But
love it.
but but here in the valley it's we say bueno, the W.
Bueno.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because
Oh,
that's that Spanglish, you know.
oh, she's gonna love hearing that. Bueno.
Yeah, it's like that
Bueno.
Spanglish. Instead of, the B, it's a W. Is Spanglish.
Spanglish is its own universe, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Bueno. I gotta go do it with her. Well, keep on working it and send me an email, please, because you got, ways to go here.
Yeah. Okay.
And I like the regularities. Next Sunday, okay for you?
See.
Because if you keep, if you get too much time, like the guy from Hawaii, he told me, yeah, well, maybe I'll call you in a month. It's never going to work. He wants to do it when he wants to do it and once a month and whatever. And yeah, okay. it has to be some type of regularity, kind of like a class. If you go too far away from that engineering test, you'll be in danger of never doing it.
Yeah, I know that the test has kind of been stressing me out just because obviously I failed that first round, and it's in my brain now.
Well, let's focus on that next time. And if you send me an email, I could talk to you in email here and there.
Yeah,
Because
I think next Sunday could work.
Okay.
Same time.
Hold on. Send me something to do with that test, will you?
Okay.
Yeah. Because now you got me and Lena talking about it, it's like extra battery power, extra solar power. Okay. Bueno.
Bueno.
Have a great time this week. Tell the lady I said arroz con pollo.
Arroz con pollo.
That's all I can say. Arroz con pollo from the gringo.
Okay.
I promise I'm going to learn more Spanish this week. I'm going to go talk right now. And I'm going to say bueno. She's there now?
Yeah, they're here.
Hola.
They're on, you're
All
not on
right.
speaker.
I better go. Do you want me to play or no? You want to
What's
go?
that?
We should go, or should I start up with them?
Yeah, we should go.
Yeah. All right. Have a good day. We'll see you next week. And I'll talk to you in email. Okay. Send me the
Okay.
engineering thing.
All right. See ya.
Buen día.